Most people spend their lives searching for a place to belong, as though the world is a grand hall filled with perfectly assigned seats, and somewhere, hidden among the shadows, is the chair with their name on it. They wander, they compare themselves to others, and they wait for life to point to the place they should occupy. But the truth is both more unsettling and more liberating. Belonging is not something handed to you, it is something you create. It does not appear ready-made, nor is it offered by the applause of others. Belonging is forged within, through the slow, often painful journey of becoming yourself. It is not about finding a seat in the world, but about becoming a presence so authentic that the world reshapes itself around you. This is why so many feel lost, alienated, or incomplete. They have mistaken belonging for acceptance. They believe that belonging will come when people finally understand them, when society finally opens its doors, when their family or community finally embraces who they are. But true belonging begins when you stop asking the world to give you a place, and instead begin listening to your own soul. The question, "Where do I belong in this world?" is not answered by your friends, nor by your family, nor by any external system. It is answered by the quiet, persistent voice within you that has been guiding you since birth, the voice of the self, the wholeness of your being, the deepest truth of who you are. And yet, this truth is not simple. To belong to yourself requires more than comfort, more than affirmations, more than indulging in what feels good. To belong to yourself is to walk into the hidden corridors of your psyche, to encounter both light and shadow, to accept not only your strengths but also the things you would rather deny. For it is only when you embrace all that you are, the noble and the broken, the radiant and the shameful, that you can stand in this world without apology, knowing that your place is not borrowed, not negotiated, but rooted in authenticity. The first truth of belonging is individuation. You were not born to be a copy. You were not born to repeat the patterns of your ancestors, nor to become a projection of your parents' unfinished dreams, nor to mold yourself into the expectations of society. You were born as a unique constellation, a pattern that has never existed before and will never exist again. Every thought, every desire, every conflict within you is part of this pattern. To belong in the world is not to dissolve into the collective, but to accept that you are a singular expression of life itself. Yet, how often do people betray this? How often do they silence their own voice in order to join the chorus of the crowd? They think that belonging means sameness, that to be loved they must become identical, interchangeable, predictable. But in trying to fit into the world's molds, they exile themselves from their own nature. The world does not need more echoes, it needs voices. And you cannot belong anywhere until you have first chosen to belong to yourself. But individuation demands courage. It is not a passive unfolding, it is a conscious act of becoming. You must peel away the masks you have worn to be accepted. You must risk being misunderstood, ridiculed, even rejected, because the true self is not always convenient for others. There will be times when choosing authenticity will leave you standing alone, when it feels easier to bend yourself to the expectations of the crowd than to endure the solitude of your own truth. Yet, paradoxically, it is only in this solitude that belonging begins. For to belong to yourself is to discover that you are never truly alone, you are accompanied by the depths of your own being, by the archetypes that live within you, by the inexhaustible source of meaning that flows from the self. The second truth is that belonging requires confrontation with the shadow. Most people think belonging is about comfort, about finding a place where nothing inside them is ever questioned, where all their traits are celebrated. But in truth, belonging is not comfort, it is confrontation. The world outside will never embrace you fully if you have rejected parts of yourself within. You cannot claim a place in life while exiling half of your being to the darkness. The shadow is not your enemy, it is the reservoir of your unlived life. It is the part of you that has been exiled, not because it was evil, but because it was inconvenient. From the moment you were a child, you were taught which parts of yourself were welcome and which were not. You were praised when you showed strength, and so your vulnerability was hidden. You were praised when you showed kindness, and so your anger was locked away. You were praised when you were humble, and so your ambition was buried deep in silence. Little by little, piece by piece, you learned to wear a mask. You learned to perform. And in this performance, parts of you were cast into the shadows of your being. Yet the shadow does not disappear. It waits. It waits in the silence of your unconscious, patient, powerful, biding its time until the day it bursts forth in projections, in compulsions, in sudden bursts of emotion you cannot explain. You say something you regret. You lash out. You fall into a pattern you thought you had escaped. And you wonder, why do I keep doing this? Why do I sabotage myself? The answer is simple: your shadow is demanding to be seen. The more you repress it, the louder it becomes. The more you deny it, the more it shapes your life from the shadows. You cannot belong in the world while you are still at war with yourself. The world does not demand perfection, but it does demand wholeness. And wholeness is not achieved by cutting away the shadow, but by integrating it, by acknowledging that even your darkness has something to teach you. Anger teaches you boundaries. Vulnerability teaches you intimacy. Ambition teaches you growth. The shadow is the soil from which your true strength can grow, if only you are willing to touch it without fear. Consider how many feel like imposters in their own lives. They walk into rooms filled with people, smile, and shake hands, but underneath, a gnawing anxiety whispers, if they knew the truth about me, they would turn away. If they saw the doubts I carry, the desires I hide, the conflicts I bury, they would never accept me. This anxiety does not arise because the world is cruel, it arises because they themselves have rejected their inner truth. They are actors upon a stage, wearing masks so carefully crafted that even they begin to believe the performance. But inside, they tremble, waiting for the mask to crack. And yet, something remarkable happens when you confront your shadow. When you look at yourself and say, yes, I am not only light, I am also darkness. I am not only strength, I am also weakness. I am not only compassion, I am also anger. I am not only harmony. I am also conflict. In that moment, you reclaim yourself. No one can exile you, for you are no longer seeking approval by hiding your contradictions. You are no longer waiting to be invited to the table, you are building the table yourself. Belonging is not about being flawless, it is about being whole. And so we arrive at the third truth: belonging is not given, but forged. Life does not hand you a ready-made role and whisper, here, this is where you belong. Life waits for you to carve your belonging through choices, through actions, through authenticity. Belonging is not permission, it is consequence. It is the outcome of embodying your truth so fully that the world reshapes itself around you. Too many people wait for permission to exist. They hesitate at the edge of their own becoming, as though the world holds a key to their life and they are but beggars waiting for it to be granted. They look to parents, to society, to lovers, to institutions, asking silently, do I matter? Do I have a place here? Will you allow me to be who I am? But belonging does not emerge this way. If you wait for validation, you will wait forever. The world does not hand out certificates of worthiness. It does not reward hesitation. It rewards authenticity. The moment you stand as yourself, unapologetically, something begins to shift. It may not bring you applause. It may not bring you comfort. But it will bring reality, the weight and shape of existence itself will respond to you. Life recognizes life. The moment you step into your truth, doors begin to appear where there were only walls. Opportunities emerge, not because the world suddenly decided to favor you, but because you aligned yourself with reality. Belonging does not live in hesitation, it breathes only in authenticity. And yet, this authenticity is not given cheaply. It is forged. Do not wait for others to invite you in, invite yourself. Do not sit at the threshold of existence asking, where am I allowed? Create the space where your presence breathes life. Belonging is not discovered in the corners of safety but in the courage to act. Think of the forest. The trees do not ask permission to grow. They drive their roots deep into the soil. They stretch their branches wide toward the sun. And in their unapologetic existence, they alter the very landscape around them. Think of the river. It does not hesitate before the hardness of stone. It does not wait for approval to flow. It moves, steady and relentless, and in time it carves valleys, reshaping the earth itself. So too must you. Your belonging will not be granted, it must be carved through the river of your choices, through the courage of your truth. Every word spoken in honesty, every act born of authenticity, every refusal to shrink is another stroke of the chisel against the stone of existence. But carving belonging is not without cost. Stone does not yield easily, and neither does society. Every forest tree that grows must withstand storms. This leads us to the deepest challenge, the lie of society that says belonging is found in fitting in. From the very beginning, we are told the same story: be like us. Think like us. Dress as we dress. Believe what we believe. We are told that safety lies in sameness, that to differ is to risk rejection. And so we fold ourselves into smaller shapes. We sand down the rough edges of our individuality. We speak what others wish to hear and bury the rest in silence. We learn to wear the masks of conformity. We fit in. We are accepted. And yet, inside, we feel the hollowness grow. For fitting in is not belonging. Fitting in is betrayal. It is the slow erosion of your soul for the sake of shallow approval. You may gain applause, but you lose your own voice. You may find acceptance, but only for a mask that does not belong to you. And if you lose yourself, then you belong nowhere, not even to yourself. True belonging does not come from sameness, it comes from standing out. It emerges when you dare to say, "This is who I am, even if you misunderstand me. This is my truth, even if you reject me. This is my essence, even if it does not match your expectations." Belonging requires the courage to stand alone, to walk paths that others mock or fear. But when you do, something miraculous happens. Those who resonate with your true frequency appear. Belonging is not approval, it is resonance. Just as a tuning fork vibrates only when it encounters its exact frequency, so too does the world vibrate in response to authenticity. When you are yourself, unapologetically, you attract the people, the opportunities, the paths that belong to your soul. And though they may be few, their presence will be worth more than the shallow acceptance of the many. One person who sees you fully, who recognizes your soul beneath the mask, is worth more than 1,000 who cheer for your performance. One path that aligns with your truth is worth more than 10 that flatter your ego but starve your spirit. The applause of the crowd fades. Resonance endures. But here lies the most profound truth: belonging is not only about you. It is not about where you feel comfortable. It is not about where you feel safe. The deepest belonging is found in service to something greater than yourself. You belong where your deepest gifts meet the world's deepest needs. Belonging is not the search for comfort, it is the offering of your soul as nourishment to life. There is within you a unique gift, a pattern no one else carries. Belonging is not about asking life to feed you, it is about asking, what can I feed life? It is about standing at the point where your truth nourishes the collective. It is about making your existence an offering. This is why Jung spoke of individuation not as selfishness, but as service. For when you become whole, when you embody yourself fully, you bring balance not only to your own life but to the larger life of the world. Think again of the tree. It does not ask if it belongs in the forest. It does not wait for the approval of other trees. It simply grows. It roots itself in the soil, drinks from the rain, stretches toward the light. And in its growing, it becomes indispensable. It offers shelter to birds, shade to wanderers, oxygen to the air, stability to the soil. Its belonging does not come from asking, it comes from giving. So too with you. You do not belong because others applaud you. You belong because you serve life. You belong because your being itself nourishes the world. Belonging is not applause, it is the echo of meaning. It is the resonance of your deepest truth meeting the world's deepest hunger. So ask yourself not, where will they accept me, but, where can I be whole? Ask not, where will they applaud me, but, where can I bring life? For it is only when you live as your true self, integrated, authentic, aligned with purpose, that the world opens its arms and says, this is where you belong. And when that moment comes, you will realize something profound: the seat you have been searching for was never hidden. It was not waiting in some distant place for someone else to assign it. It was being carved, moment by moment, by the choices you dared to make. Every act of courage, every confrontation with your shadow, every refusal to shrink, every offering of your gift, these were the chisels shaping the seat of belonging. So do not wait. Do not ask where you fit. Do not wait for permission. Begin to carve. Begin to act. Begin to stand as yourself. Belonging is not found, it is created. And the world is waiting, not for the mask you have worn, but for the fullness of who you are. And let me remind you of this: the path to belonging is not the path of ease. It is not the path of constant affirmation. It is the path of fire, of transformation, of trials. Just as the alchemist placed base metals into fire to reveal the gold hidden within, so too must your life pass through challenges to reveal your essence. Each challenge you face, each rejection you endure, each failure you survive, is part of the furnace that burns away falsehood and reveals truth. If you are willing to endure this process, belonging is inevitable. Do not fear rejection, it is the world's way of saying, not here. Not yet. Keep carving. Do not fear solitude, it is the space where your roots grow deepest. Do not fear resistance. It is the pressure that gives you shape. Belonging is not comfort, it is destiny. And so, again, I say, do not wait. Do not shrink. Do not trade your truth for approval. Live as the river lives. Grow as the tree grows. Breathe as the fire breathes. Stand as yourself. For when you do, the world will not merely tolerate you, it will be reshaped by your presence. Belonging is not something you find. It is something you create, moment by moment, choice by choice, life by life. And when you dare to live this way, when you dare to stand fully as yourself, the world itself whispers back, this is where you belong.